Hello everyone, welcome back. I want to give you guys an update on these uh, ETS Glock 17 magazines. I got about 15 of them in this box. Uh, each one of these magazines has done about 1,000 rounds. Okay, so I do a high volume of shooting. Um, I put these into service, the entire box here, in December of 2020. It's now February 2022, so we're talking about roughly 14 months. I shoot these magazines in both the 9mm ARs, right, specifically the Palmetto PX9s, and also the Polymer 80s, right, the Glock Gen 3s. Occasionally, I'll shoot it in the factory Glock as well. I would say that probably 60% of the shooting, 60 to 70% of shooting was done in the 9mm ARs, and then the balance was done in the in the handguns. Okay, so if you look at them, right, you can see uh, they're no longer clear, right? Now they're smoked. Okay, so the reason why I tell people don't get the smoke ones, get the clear ones, because they're gonna become smoked. Okay, so to give you guys an update, what I noticed recently, right, is that the followers start getting stuck about halfway up. I had one here last night that was getting stuck. The follower was getting stuck consistently, um, and I had put it aside so I can demonstrate to you guys. Today, when I went to test it out, it was working. It was working fine. So I guess there was a temperature change because from last night to today, and that temperature change affected how it was working. Okay? Um, so what's going on here? Why are these now starting to get stuck? The spring has gotten a little bit lighter. Okay, it didn't take long before the spring started getting lighter. Probably about 3 or 4 months in, I could see that the spring had what people say broken in a little bit, right? Had gotten a little bit easier to work with, but the magazines were still working fine. It wasn't till probably January 2022 that I really start seeing, okay, time to get rid of these magazines. Okay, so what's going on here? They're dirty on the inside because when you fire the gun, you're burning stuff, right? So uh, that residue, right, ends up going into the magazine. Uh, it is possible to clean these, right? You can basically take off the bottom plate here, and I could clean these out. However, what I elected to do was just get new ones. Okay, actually, it's really hard to get these right now. I shouldn't say it that hard. I'm sure you can find them someplace. But I usually buy these at Botoc. I get them for like $12 each. So until I guess a year from now, when these wear out, um, at that point, if Botoc doesn't have them anymore, I'll get them somewhere else, right? But Botoc is where I try to buy them, just because of the $12 versus $15 somewhere else. Reason why I like them is a lot of times when I'm training people, I'll tell them put 6 rounds in magazines or 8 rounds in magazines. If I give them one that's not clear, I might have 6 to 10 people coming up to me asking me how many rounds they have in their magazine. So it's very convenient for me to give people clear magazines that they can easily count what's in there. Okay. Now I got about 15 here. I started off with 35. Okay, so um, more than half of them have been lost. Some of them might be in the woods out here. Others might have ended up at different gun ranges, accidentally ended up in people's bags. So here's the thing: these magazines, the way I use them, high volume shooting that I do, high volume of training. It's something that I consider disposable. Okay, it's something that's going to get lost, which is why I don't want to have 35 factory Glock magazines. Okay, I prefer to use these cheaper ones if they're good and reliable, and they are. These are good and reliable up until the point where they get really dirty. I could open them up and clean them, but there's 2 reasons why I don't want to do that. Number one, it is a pain in the ass to do this with, in this case, 15 magazines. You take this off, things are flying all over the place. Getting the spring back in there. That's one reason why I don't want to do it. The other reason is, especially with the 9mm ARs that have a a heavy bolt. Okay, so there's no steel feed lips here, so every time the bolt goes forward, it usually rubs against the feed lips here, and it slowly wears them down. Okay, so actually, let me take this glove off. All right, so it slowly wears these feed lips down, and that consumes the magazine. So that's the reason. What happened? This is actually the second generation for me. Not that these are not. I'm not saying that these are second generation mags. It's just that prior to these 15, this batch here, in the beginning of 2020, right? I had also bought another 35. Of course, in 2020, I was a lot busier, and I wore those out within like 7 or 8 months. Okay, so I didn't get that, just because I was a lot busier. And what was happening is the way these wear out, okay, because those had gotten really bad. If I would push up on this, and you'll see it in another video, you see it, as the feed lips get worn out, they have a tendency to lift up like this. The first batch that I got, they had gotten chewed up so bad that what I would do is I would just go like that, and the thing would just like stand right up. Okay, so it would nose up going into the gun. These aren't that bad. These are kind of usable still, right? I wouldn't be replacing these at this point, other than the fact that they're also dirty and the follower is getting stuck. And you know what? I don't want to invest the time into cleaning these when I can see that the feed lips are also, they're not done, but they're more than halfway through their life. So that's why it just makes more sense to put these in the bag, put them on the side, pull out the next batch over here, and work with these. Okay, and like these magazines here, I'll use these if I know that I'm going to be someplace where there's a good chance I'm going to lose them, or maybe if I see Michael Bloomberg, I'll give it to his children or something, So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that update. I mean, these are consumable in terms of the feed lips will get worn out over time. Okay, and also as they get dirtier, there will be more resistance in there, and that follower is going to start sticking on the way up. Okay, ideally, what I would love, I wish that Lancer would make Glock 17 mags, right? Because Lancer, at this point, for my AR-15s, I only use Lancer magazines. I love the hybrids; they work great. I've never had a problem even with the high volume shooting that I do. Because the Lancers are basically, they have a clear plastic body, and then they have the steel feed lips, which are tempered, so that even if you drop them on the feed lips, they don't break. I wish Lancer would make Glock 17 magazines. Until they do that, I'll just keep using these ETSs. Like I said, I expect at this point that every year, I'm going to be going through a batch. I'm going to be changing these out. So as far as I'm concerned, they're consumable. Okay. Like I said, I started out with 35. More than half of them have been lost. So now I got another 35 over here that I'm going to put to service, and I expect that in about a year or so, it'll be time to replace these as well. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys that update on these ETS Glock 17 clear magazines. And I think that this information is valuable coming from somebody that does, who uses the magazines that much, where each one of these magazines has done 1,000 rounds. Not in total they've done 1,000 rounds. Each one of these has done 1,000 rounds. Okay, so this is what they're going to look like after 1,000 rounds. They're going to be dirty, and the feed lips are going to are going to start getting worn. Let me get behind the camera, make sure you can see that a little bit. See how those feed lips are. Where are you? Oh, bring it down a little bit more. Rotate a little bit to the side. It's probably out of focus. I got a glare against the camera lens on the back side, so actually I'm not even 100% sure what you guys are seeing, but anyway, that's what it's at. Drop some comments below. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. Hit the bell button so you get notifications of new videos I put up. I'll talk to you all soon.